Oh my goodness. Hello. Thank you for joining my Random Thoughts with Michelle Moross. And today, as you see, I've got a guest. His name is Brian Swanson. And normally, with the whole COVID and the whole keeping separated thing, we kind of blew it because he's my neighbor. He's my neighbor and I see him all the time. So this is Brian Swanson, my neighbor, who I see all the time. Therefore, the whole distance of 6 feet thing didn't apply, because I'm always seeing him anyways. Now, he and I have been having, hi Janelle, he and I have been having some major conversations on the front porch. And I told him, we're embracing our inner, hillbilly or whatever, because we're sitting out there drinking beer, just kind of talking smack. And I'm like, why are we talking smack sitting on your porch? We should share some of these deep thoughts that we have together with my audience, his audience, because here's the thing about Brian that people don't know. He's kind of a mover and shaker in the Colorado area. And I heard about him before I ever met him. And then when I met him, he just seemed like such a normal guy that I didn't think he was the Brian I was told about. So this is what's really cool about Brian, who is on his phone trying to share. Now I'm feeling like Abbott and Costello. So, hi, Shell. So thank you, everyone, for joining us and for being part of this, because we wanted to call this the entrepreneurial randomness, because that is what Brian does. He is a serial entrepreneur. I hate using that term, but really, if you want to look at that, that's what he does, because this is how I found out about him. He started a few networking groups in the Colorado area. And I kept showing up at them and they'd, oh, have you met Brian? Oh, have you met Brian? I'm like, who is this Brian guy? Oh, have you met Linda? Who is this Linda person? And so I never really met them. I saw them, but I never met them. And years go by and GalaxyFest is happening in Colorado. And basically it's kind of like a giant Comic-Con. People are dressed up and they bring in big stars and vendors, and it's just a lot of fun. And someone says, oh, have you seen Brian? I said, who's Brian? Oh, have you seen Linda? Who's Linda? And they said, just go look for Wonder Woman and look for Animal Kirk. Okay, we're at a dress-up convention there.
There's Wonder Women everywhere.
There's a lot of people dressed like that. I'm like, I don't get it. And then Wonder Woman and Animal Kirk walked past me. I went, that's the Brian and the Linda people have been telling me about for years. And so I realized he's also my neighbor and his daughter is friends with my daughter. So we're actually more connected than we ever knew, and we had never seen each other. And so I want to share my friend Brian Swanson with all of you, because I bounce a lot of ideas off of him, and weird ideas sometimes. So when I found out about GalaxyFest, I asked him, why GalaxyFest? How did that happen? And how did that transpire? And then I went, I want to share this because it's an entrepreneurial, part mess, part cool, part adventure, all in one. So Brian, I'm going to stop talking now. Now it's all your turn. What came about with this? I mean, what were you doing beforehand, and what brought you to making all these crazy networking groups that were so awesome, and then got you into GalaxyFest? I mean, how did this world happen?
The story isn't totally exciting or anything like that. It started off with the fact that I retired out of the military, decided to go into the financial world, and somebody says, have you ever heard of networking? You should do some business networking. I'm like, what the heck is business networking? Well, don't worry about it. Just show up over here and you'll get to meet some people and things like that. So I was like, okay, great. I can advertise my business, market my business, and do different things and see where it goes from there. Well, the next thing you know, I'm starting to lead one, and we actually led one right here in Falcon. We, called it jovially,
That's
BEER.
When I saw you.
Business Entrepreneurs Enhancing Relationships.
Say that again.
Business Entrepreneurs Enhancing Relationships.
I like beer.
Yeah, beer was great. There was a few margaritas that went down here and there too, but beer was a great little group, and it was right here at the Antlers Creek Golf Course. And once we got that going, we lasted for about 3 years. We had a lot of great people come through. All of those people, have gone on to do different things. And of course, the group is broken up and such. But I was trying to advertise my financial business.
Oh.
Because that's what I came out of the military. And I said, hey, finances are the place to go. There's a lot of money in there. All I need to do is meet people and we'll go from there. Well, in the process of building a group, ran across Linda Sink. Linda Sink is sitting at the other end. I always tease her because, we were at the coffee exchange downtown and she was listening in on a conversation and our eyes met across the room. Yes. Like, and it was,
he makes it sound so romantic.
It was sort of, but we became good friends and we decided that it was easier to help each other than it was to help ourselves. So in that process, what we did is we started networking groups in order to enhance our connections around the city.
And actually, when you said that, that makes sense. When you meet people and they say, I don't like talking about myself.
Right.
You solve that by talking about each other.
Well, when you talk about yourself and you just say, I'm so good and I'm so great, you're also very arrogant.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to sell yourself to people, because this in Colorado Springs is a people business. Okay. And you get that people thing going on, and then next thing you know, you're talking about yourself and you're bragging about yourself, even though you mean it in all good intentions. Sometimes it doesn't come across quite right. So if somebody says, hey, Michelle's the most awesomest person in the world, I just cannot be without her. People romantic, nice.
I had to share that by Jim because, okay, when I talk about networking, I always think that when you go to networking groups, that's why I tend to avoid them. And that's why it kind of intrigued me when I saw Linda and Brian. When people go to networking groups, they do, hi, nice to meet you. Will you marry me? I mean, that's how I avoid, hi, will you marry me? And it's like, whoa. I mean, buy me a drink, do something.
Right.
And so that's when Jim said romantic, I giggled because really that's what networking is. It's actually, getting to know someone and being their friend and getting to know everything about them, what they like and their nuances and, the quirks that you don't want to send your best friend to, that kind of thing. And so it's dating. Networking is dating.
Well, going back to the romantic part of it, networking is actually kind of a romance.
It is.
If you think about it, with the person that you're meeting and the businesses that you're meeting, because it's kind of a first date. Hi, how are you? It's great to meet you. What do we have in common? What can I do for you?
What's your sign?
That happens every now and then. But then you develop the relationship with that business or that business partner or what have you. So it is really kind of a romantic little thing, but we just don't use that word because it's so romantic.
Yeah.
But
that's exactly what it is. Networking is a dance.
It is. It really is.
Courtship.
Yeah. I like to use the example when I walked into the Antlers Hotel one time. I walked in, or not the hotel, the golf course. I walked in for the meeting, and there's this long hallway before you go into the dining room where the meeting was at. And I was by myself. I was alone, and I was deep in my thoughts. And I come walking through the door, and I'm still in that thinking mode. And before I turn the corner, because when you turn the corner,
I call it his resting bitch face.
Hey, now. No. That's my grr face.
Okay.
Anyway, before I walk around the corner, though, I put the smile on my face to go into the room. Well, I got caught between my resting face and my smiles on face.
Your resting face.
Yeah, my resting face. But anyway, I got caught. Well, that to me just shows that you've got to put on that air of positivity. You've got to put on that feeling of welcomeness. You can't just walk through the area and, grumpy, because what's that going to do for your business? What's that going to do for you in the long run? And who wants to meet somebody with a face like that?
Well, and that's what we were talking. I wanted you on because I talk about body language a lot, about communication from the inside out, and that whatever you're thinking in your head, that's what you're projecting out. So even if you put on that smile, the fake smile, if you want to say that, the fake smile, and in your head you're doing, God, I really don't want to be here. God, I really don't want to be here. That's what your face is portraying. That's what your body language shows. So that's why it's so important that when you're going on a date, let's say you're going to a networking group, you're going on a date, you charge yourself up, you listen to the music that makes you, okay, I've got this. And you come into whatever. Well, you want to do it before you even get in the parking lot, okay? Because people are watching as you drive in. If you come tearing in, I've seen this man tear in with a Mustang once, and I'm like, boy, someone's having a bad day. No, he was late. But my brain said, he's having a hard day. He's having a bad day. Be nicer to him, honestly, is what I did. So think about your body language.
I was grumpy or something.
I thought you were grumpy.
Oh,
but anyways, but I know better now. But when you are going into any event, any situation, any date, anything like that, where you're meeting and greeting people, you have to mentally prepare yourself well before you get near that event. Start listening to music, start singing, do whatever you need. Tap dance if you have to.
Brush your hair.
Brush your hair, or in his case, cut it, because I told him he couldn't come live with me.
We'll talk that story later.
Okay. And but that's the thing, is you set your mindset so that when you come out of your car, your vehicle, whatever you get there in, you're in that mood. You're already mentally in that room meeting people. So when you're walking through the hall, you're basically like a magnet bringing people in to your circle.
Well, I think you said it on one of the other shows the other day. You got to be in the moment.
Yes.
The thing with being an entrepreneur, though, is you always have to be in the moment. Even at home, sometimes, they say, the tree falls in the forest and nobody's around kind of thing. Well, sometimes you still have to create that positivity in your own environment when you're at home or not around other people, just so that you can carry it through. Okay. So if you're going to meet with people, you don't want to always be in that, what was that old saying? I can't think of it, Bad Betty or something. I don't know. I can't remember what it was called. Anyhow, there was an old saying.
Before my time.
Yeah. Your time and my time are the same, all right?
I still can't believe he's been my neighbor for years and I didn't know it. But anyways, we're a little distracted right now.
Yeah, I think we got off of the path of where
I said we were going to get.
Yeah, so that was L&B Network, okay, or L&B Connectors. L&B Connectors is the overall enterprise, if you will, of everything else that has happened with Linda and I and in our businesses. Okay. L&B Connectors started it with the L&B Network and the L&B networking groups and all this other kind of stuff. And we met a lot of great people. We've brought a lot of great people together. I'm sure there's some folks out there that would say, yeah, if it wasn't for that group, we probably would not have had whatever. Well, our objective, Linda and I's objective, was always to try and find new people to bring into the mix. So expanding your network.
Network works.
Yeah, circle of influence.
He's just a lost word today.
Yes.
That's because I'm so awesome.
It is. I'm enamored. See, I know big words too. Anyway.
Sorry.
But trying to create that circle of influence, a bigger circle of influence, not just for us and our businesses,
for everybody,
but for everybody within the networking groups. And one day, and Linda tells the story so much better than I do, she actually literally tripped across R2D2 in the lobby of the Antlers. Okay. Had a one of those celebrity moments where she was in awe and couldn't say anything, even though she knew the person. She knew the person, of course. And you always wanted to say something to that person. Got caught up in the elevator. So much for the 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
So she tried, that was I do believe it was like 2012. And we made friends with the owners of that, David and Diane Wax. David and Diane had created GalaxyFest. Their point is to bring the pop culture together. All of the cosplayers, all of the gamers, all of the performers, the stage performers. David and Diane Wax's vision was to put all of that together for one weekend so that everybody could just have a good time. There would be no holds barred, no limitations on anything. It didn't matter what your background was, who you were, where you lived. It none of that mattered. It was all about sharing something in common, whether it was Star Trek, Star Wars, Dragon Ball Z, or body painting,
but see, this is why
anything.
This is why I wanted Brian on the show. I want Linda Sink on it too, because the thing is these two people didn't just think of themselves. They thought of everybody else around them. They've got that heart of giving and serving and bringing people together for the betterment of everyone. And when I heard about the whole GalaxyFest thing, I asked him, how did you acquire GalaxyFest? Did you start it from the ground? Because I didn't realize how it started. I wasn't in that world. And he explained to me how it was acquired. And basically what came around to it was they acquired it almost through like an inheritance, basically. How do you explain that?
Well, we had met up with David and Diane and became friends, did a couple events together down in like Fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And we did those kind of things and we just became friends. Well, in August, I believe it was, or July, and I never can remember exactly, and it's kind of bad on me, of 2014, David suddenly passed away. And when he passed away, Diane had taken and just put herself, in a cocoon, if you will. She didn't talk to anybody. She didn't email anybody. She didn't converse on the phone with anybody. Major introvert. And then, of course, you have to put the death of her husband in there too. So she's grieving. Well, there was a lot of questions in the convention world around them. Will it go on? And 10 days or 9 days prior to GalaxyFest happening in 2015, Diane came to Linda and I and said, hey, can you make it happen, or should we not make it happen? Which would it be? Well, we all came to the conclusion that if it didn't go on in 2015, it wouldn't go on from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we took the, and herded cats, because everybody was waiting and there were so many volunteers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got a horde of volunteers and
yes.
people who are linked into this event.
Yeah. There was like 400 volunteers, and Diane gave us a phone number to talk to one person who talked to another person who talked to another person. And we found out everybody was just waiting on, is it happening? And as soon as they got the word, they were ready to go. Everybody, it was kind of a duplication of the year before, kind of, but it happened. GalaxyFest happened, and it carried on David's legacy.
That's where I'm going for. I was going for the legacy, because the thing is GalaxyFest is this huge event, and we all think it's just my life. It's no big deal. It's just this. I don't have a lot to give or to leave my family or any. No one plans for the future.
No.
And even this event, which was huge and so organized, it was easily passed to someone else. It was not part of like what was the word? Like a will. I mean, it wasn't willed over. It basically, his wife, who survived, right? His surviving wife had to do, holy smokes, what am I going to do with this?
Right.
And look, I got to find someone to do this. And so I'm thinking, what have we been doing in our own lives? Like with me and my speaking and my training and all this kind of stuff. And like with you in your life, if anything happened to one of us or to you, God willing, that doesn't happen. Okay. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah. So the thing is in your life, if something happened with the people around, you know what to do. And that was a huge topic that we got on last week. And I'm like, I don't know if they would. And it panicked me, because I thought, in the time of COVID, you never know, people are like, oh my gosh, you could get it from anything or whatever. And it made me think, because that's what Brian does on the side. That's what he started the whole L&B networking stuff for us, because he had another business.
Right. And that, if you're going to take me off from GalaxyFest, let's kind of stick with the entrepreneur thing real quick though. But we go from GalaxyFest, and GalaxyFest was an awesome event. It was a great place for people to come together, especially geeks, of course.
Geeks are the best.
Bring them all together, and we have a really good time, and do that for a 3-day weekend. However, it didn't work out necessarily from a business standpoint. And sometimes you have to go, do you want to stick with your pride? Do you want to stick with the thing that you do that you love? Or do you go with the money?
Oh.
Okay, so GalaxyFest last year stopped last year. And the reason why was because of money, the market, and it was an educated decision, a logical decision, not one of the heart. Because believe me, if we could do GalaxyFest for all of our friends and it didn't, it was all great and in a perfect world, fine, but you still have to have money to do it.
Well, because the space you needed was enormous.
The space is one part of it. The celebrities that you bring in, who are all great, but they're not going to work for free. So we had to make a business decision. Well, we made that business decision, and in the process of that, we had actually opened up another store. We opened up CK Comics over in Manitou.
Okay.
And CK Comics over in Manitou ran its course too, and it stopped right prior to COVID, and which was a good thing. Mm-hmm. Then in all of the mess and all this turmoil that we're talking about, we also ended up starting a place over on Fort Carson. Okay. And the Fort Carson is about gaming and getting the soldiers something to do. And the sad part about that is, and that's called Pika. So you can find Pika in Facebook and stuff. But once we get that open, it's all for the soldiers. It's about the soldiers and their families and giving them something to do. The single soldiers not being able to come out of their dorm rooms. This will give them something that they can come in and play video games or Magic or whatever it happens to be. So that one's in hold. So then COVID hits. So we don't have, we shut down one store, we shut down GalaxyFest, and we didn't quite get the other store open. So what do? You fall back on what you also know and what I've been licensed to do for 20 years, and that's life insurance and investments. Yep. And it leads, now I slide back where you came from, where you wanted me to go with this.
Yes.
I did it pretty quickly though. So come back to that, and it's preparing. And some of the tragic things that I've seen is it really drives me crazy when I look up and I see a GoFundMe for somebody's brother or sister or mother who passed away. And if that person isn't popular or knows somebody who can throw that GoFundMe out there, it's not going to happen. It's going to sit back. There's like 200 and some GoFundMes in the city right now, just for somebody.
In just
Colorado Springs that say, give us money because we weren't prepared. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's nothing against those folks because there's always reasons why we're not prepared. But if I can get in there and I can help one family, and I can help one family that instead of sitting around the table at the funeral home going, you can put this much on my credit card and this much on my credit card, and I can pay a couple bucks in cash. Instead of dividing that up through the family, if there's just a policy that takes care of everything, how much easier is that? How much easier is it to make decisions in a time of trouble?
Yeah.
Okay. Whether it's for mom or dad or brother or sister or whatever, or even these incidents that we have going on all the time, you never know what's going to happen. So that's why I do what I do on that side of it. And I'm pretty passionate about it.
You are. And the thing is you've never left it. It's just that you were doing it in different aspects to all the other things you were doing. And that's why I wanted you to come talk a little bit, because so many of us are not ready. And that was my thing. I'm not ready. And so, I mean, with all the things that have happened in my life, I don't have a plan. I don't have a future plan. I mean, I've got a life insurance kind of thing for if I die, but there's no other plan about that. It's just if I die, my husband gets money.
Right.
And that's it.
So if you wreck your car, it's fixed.
Yeah.
A lot of times too, because of the second side of what I do is about investments. And it's about putting your money someplace to plan for retirement. Because, we're not expected to die anymore until we're like in our 80s or something.
Well,
like 78 or something.
But that was the thing that got us on the subject in the first place, was there were so many people who were reaching out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn, all the social medias, or emailing me and saying, Michelle, you've got this positive attitude and you're telling me to stay positive, but I just lost my job. I can't work. I can't go outside and I can't do this. And I'm still working, and I'm walking across the street and I'm like, hey, let's have a beer. And he's like, I'm working. And I'm like, what do you do again? I thought you did networking stuff. And he's like, no, I help people figure out, their future and da-da-da. He goes, you want a job? And I'm like, I'm working. And so I wanted to mention this out loud because people need to realize that there is a way to plan, and there's a way to keep working from your computer. Mm-hmm. Where I saw him playing in his yard and drinking beers with me, and I didn't even realize the man was still working.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing I wanted to say. If you're out there and you're looking for a job and you're looking for something to do that you can still do, and that you still have the other job when it opens up, but something on the back burner, just in case something crazy like this ever happens again, that you still have money coming in, it's called residual income. Okay.
Right.
We all need it.
Multiple streams and residual.
Yes.
Two things. Where's the camera? There it is.
Yeah. Two things.
Multiple streams of income and residual income. How do you make that happen? Well, sometimes you got to take a little bit of time out and you got to focus on one to build it. And COVID was a perfect thing for me to do with that, with what I do. I would mention my company. Somebody's already mentioned it within the thing. Shell mentioned it. I've actually been with them for, of course, that's a pretty big word. Maybe she didn't quite mention it, but anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I've done that for 20 years now. I started in October of 2000. I actually started here and I carried it through my military career. And when I retired in 2009, I thought it was going to be a permanent thing in my life. Well, then I discovered networking and I discovered GalaxyFest and Pika.
But it's still been
Yeah.
feeding you from the back
Oh,
end.
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, he learned investments. So there's a lot of things you can learn in this business about how you can help yourself
Yes.
while you're helping others. And that's kind of what sparked my interest there.
So I you know, because you speak on this kind of stuff all the time. I got a question for you.
Okay.
Do you help others to help yourself, or do you help yourself to help others?
I help myself to help others.
Because a lot of people will tell you you have to help others before you can get the kickback on that, or you know, especially when it comes to the kind of the religious side of it. You know, you've got to give to get.
Well, and I say it easier. I
Okay.
don't know if it's even biblical or anything.
I don't know either.
Okay.
I just throwing it out.
Just suppose you have a thing of water and you are a giver. I'm a giver. I'm a giver. And so you keep giving everybody the tea. You just keep sharing the water with everybody. And at the end, this thing's empty. It's empty, but you're still trying to pour things into other people. Self-care, I did a whole talk on it this morning, actually. Self-care is about filling that cup, filling that pitcher so you can keep helping other people. So who are you going to be going to? Are you going to go to a dentist that doesn't take care of his teeth? No. Are you going to go to a doctor who's, I don't know, a dermatologist who has like serious acne? No, I wouldn't go to them. Or someone who is, grotesquely obese and telling me this is how you should eat.
That you got high blood pressure.
And that you have high blood. You really need to take care of yourself. That kind of stuff. You walk away from them, right? You walk away. But if you go to someone who says, hair club for men. I'm sorry, that's what just came to my head. If you're trying to sell hair plugs and they're looking at your head and you're bald, you're going to have to say, I use this too. And so in this case, Brian was more appealing to me because he says, not only am I helping you, but I use it too. Now, that gives a credibility that is beyond anybody saying, well, I got a car to sell. Yeah, I've got a bridge to sell. Because when you're taking care of yourself with the same product that you are sharing with other people, there's a magic in it. And that's why people like you watch me and follow me, because I don't just say things. I am doing what I share. I literally live it. He lives this. And so I really like that.
I'm waiting on you to shave your head like mine.
Oh, heck no. You have to take care of you first to take care of others. And when we were talking about legacy and things like that, the others in this case could be your own family. So you've got to take care of you, get your ducks in a row. I know ducks wander. I say that all the time, but you've got to get those things in line so people know what to do next. And it does take planning. Okay. Yes. And it's not something that we can wait till we're on the deathbed or getting really sick. Trust me, I've been really sick a lot in the past several years. Laying in a bed with tubes in your arms and things up your nose is not the time to be making major decisions. Do it while you're healthy. Do it while you're clear-minded and thinking. Okay, enough.
Wow, I totally had something else too, and in the middle of all of that, it was like totally awesome. I'm enamored again. So, but no, it comes down to, a lot of times it comes down to what I was thinking was about entrepreneurship, and that's what we were talking about. Some of it has to come with making those connections and doing what's right for you sometimes. I mean, my military career, for instance, I went through my entire military career. I had people underneath me who were my troops or what have you. And I turn around and I put them in for this award and that award and this award and that award. You know what I never did?
Put yourself in.
I never put myself in. Why not? I didn't learn that until afterwards. Okay. Then I had a different duty station and I actually got put in for an award, and it went all the way up through wing and everything else.
Surprise.
It was like, wow, I actually won something. But that was because somebody actually put me in for it. Whereas if I'd have put myself in for it before, maybe it would have been a different circumstance.
Well, and that's why it's important to help each other, basically. And that's why I liked how Brian and Linda worked the whole networking thing, is that you didn't have to say, oh, I'm wonderful. She would look at him and do, you should check with Brian. Brian's
Right.
really good at this. And he'd do, oh, you should check with Linda. She's amazing at this. She helped me set up this and this and this. And that's kind of how the world rolls.
Right.
You don't have to lift yourself up if you're lifting other people. And so I like to drop seeds into different people's minds to kind of plant seeds of who and why I follow people and why I do what I do. It's about supporting them like
Right.
you all did.
And one thing too, you're talking about partnership a lot. You know, one of the things with Linda and I, there's some people who like Linda and can't stand me. And there's some people who can't stand Linda, but love me to death. So it works as a partnership, but it's still the same goal.
Yes.
Okay. So that can be part of it. Or somebody just doesn't relate well. They may like both of us, but they can have a conversation with Linda, or they can have a conversation with me and relate.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Linda and I's goal as a business has always been the same, geared towards the same direction. But it always gave us or you could always do it too. We played good cop, bad cop.
Yes, and they do that.
We've
very,
done that
very
a lot
well.
too.
By the way, Linda's bad cop. Okay, she's
Usually, yeah.
tough. I love Linda, and so whenever anything happens in this town, and I hear the names Linda or Brian, I do it.
Or LNB.
Or LNB. I just do it because I know wherever they are, that's where the movers are. That's where the shakers are. That's where growth is going to happen because that's the environment. Those are the kind of people they bring. They're amazing as a team. I thought they were married for the longest time.
Everybody did. She's too tall for me. You know that, right?
She's like an Amazon woman. She really does look like Wonder Woman.
She does.
She does look like Wonder. And you do look like Admiral Kirk too, unfortunately.
I don't know about that. I can't get the camera to tell me that.
You look like Kirk. You should see him in the Kirk outfit. But anyways, what was I going to say? I lost what I was going to say.
I don't know. What's next?
Entrepreneurship and all the randomness. Now, the thing about entrepreneurship and randomness in my mind is that that's about growth and entrepreneurship. When we go off, the thing about entrepreneurs is we do squirrel and we go. And once we start moving, that's when we start pulling up the pieces. And that's why I like the teamwork of these two, is because I went squirrel and started running towards my dream, not realizing there were things I needed to be able to do to make that dream happen. Okay, there are technical things that I didn't bother dealing with. And so what I found were partners that could help and fill those blanks, fill those gaps in my process to make me look smooth.
You're so smooth.
So if you go to my website, I've got to do a plug for someone. Madeline Costa from Succeeding Small just finished the very large portion of my website. Go to my website, michellemoras.com. It is the bomb diggity. This woman is amazing. Her team is amazing. Yes, I just had to plug that because, man.
I'm glad you got one to plug because ours are all shut down at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're all shut down at the moment because the businesses that we have that have websites are kind of shut down. Facebook is still alive. There's always the Facebook GalaxyFest or GalaxyFest fan club Facebook page.
GalaxyFest fan page. I just want to let you all know. I want Brian to have a party and have us all over and in costume, and we can all stand 6 feet apart. His yard's big enough. I mean, I think there's a way to do this. So hit him up for that. Fire
pit out back. We can all hang out in the backyard. The wife says I can only have 10 people. There's 6 in my house already, so I can only invite 4 though.
Me.
so I think we should do it. I really truly believe that we should do it.
It's that community. You built a community that
GalaxyFest barbecue, and we make it a a potluck
with costumes.
If you choose,
it'll be hot.
If it's like July, it's going to be hot.
Yeah, it'll be too hot.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you everyone, each of you for joining us live. Is there something I forgot to ask you?
Well, we covered planning. We covered entrepreneurship. We even covered partnership.
Yes.
We've covered be positive. We've network romance. If you guys want to know what that is, please go back to the beginning of the show and you'll understand what networking romance is.
I'm going to do a whole training on that, actually. Networking romance. I like that.
I like you too. Yeah. Maybe we came up with, you want to write that down?
I am.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Okay. So we covered all of that. I think we've covered a lot of stuff, and about being positive and being in the moment. We've covered a lot of those things. So I don't know what else we can cover.
I don't know what else.
Aside from don't worry, be happy.
I do
Am I
know.
allowed to use that phrase, by the way?
Don't worry, be happy. I'm always singing. Don't say that doesn't worry. No, I have to tell you a secret. Do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? I told Brian he couldn't come on my show until he cut his hair because he looked like a hippie.
That's the part we forgot.
Yes, which is what I think it is.
Yeah, you guys want the story on this one?
You have to hear the story on the hair.
See this lovely haircut that I have right now? Yeah, it's a little short. Before yesterday, I actually had my hair, I called it my COVID hair because I've been hung out at home, not doing anything.
He looked like a beetle.
And my hair was like down to here. I mean, literally, it was down to here. That is the longest my hair has been since June 9th, 1986, when they cut it off at Army basic training. They went, and it looked something like this. So I went yesterday because Michelle insisted, and my wife, and everybody else, other ladies in my life at this time, before I come on this show today, that I must get my hair cut. So I went over to the barbershop here in Falcon, and the girl did a really good job if I was in the military. But it also led me to believe she got it a little bit too short because I can't do anything with it at this moment. So
he got so used to doing this with his hair.
Yeah, I was doing this and I was sliding back behind my ear. Oh, a beetle. Yes, I was trying to pull off Paul McCartney. Okay.
Poorly.
But I thought it was awesome. So anyhow, that's what it looked like yesterday. And then I get this haircut and it got done. The lady hands me the mirror and I look at it. And my first thing is shock because I wasn't expecting it to come out so short. And then I got to thinking, does it really matter how I react in this situation? Yes. This is the entrepreneurial thing and keeping up with what's going on and being in the moment, because I could react one of a few ways. One, I could get, well, what the heck? That's just like way too short. What were you thinking? I want my money back. But why? It's going to grow back in about 3 more days. So I can't rush out onto Google or anything like that and say she gave me a bad haircut. She gave me probably what I told her I wanted. I just didn't interpret it the same way she did. And I got a haircut. So, I can either look at it from a positive standpoint of, oh, well, it'll grow back. Or I could be obnoxious about it and create all kinds of havoc for a bad hairdresser.
Let's say, what's she gonna barber? So what is the barber going to do if you complain? Glue each individual hair back? I mean, really pick your battles.
Well, I did kind of tease her, and I said that's a little too short, and she went, "Oops."
So. My answer to that would have, I could have made it even shorter on the sides, and that way your top will look longer.
It's all a matter of perspective in that case.
It's all perspective. But when he told me that story, he actually sent me a picture and said, "It's a sad day."
It's sad.
And he showed me the picture of all the hair on the ground. I'm like,
there's not hair on the ground. Those are my locks.
His locks on the ground.
My locks were on the ground. I mean, literally curls and everything.
Aaron, we'll post a picture that he sent me of the hair in the dustpan because he didn't want to cut it, and I told him I want you on my show, but you are not coming on looking like she loves me. Yeah. I was like, and he would brush his hair straight down like this, so he had like this bang thing, and then he would like part it in the middle. I'm like,
I tried that one too. It didn't work well.
What is that?
Because that's what I did in 1986. Yes. I parted it in the middle and I had it down to here.
And so,
but then I also took my collar.
The honest friend in me said,
I flipped my collar up.
Brian, this is 2020. Please cut your hair. And then he threatened me with a man bun, and so I
should have wore a wig, man bun on the top. I think the show just went to heck.
Yes, it did. Thank you for joining us on Random Thoughts with Michelle. And my guest here is Brian. And though I'm glad he caught it because I wrote Brain Swanson. And Brian Swanson, look him up on Facebook. He's one of my friends. Just friend him if you have any questions. Because the important thing is, connection is key. Caring and lifting other people is very, very key because that's how we spread our network. And in this world, friends are your power. Okay, your friends are your power, and so go reach out to Brian. Man, if anybody can connect, it's this guy. And I'm going to pick his brain for other things later. But be the best versions of you. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
I agree with that. Best versions of you, and especially in today with what's going on in our world, and we definitely won't go all into that because I think we all know.
We're being pounded.
But it's got to be, be you. Be who you are, be what you are, stand for what you stand for, believe in you, believe in yourself, don't worry about the rest of the world. Believe in yourself, and you can be what you want to be.
Exactly. And that's the entrepreneurial spirit. And honestly, for those of you who say I'm not an entrepreneur, if you get up every day and you do whatever you do, oh, hi, Rich. But yeah, whatever you do, even if you say you're not an entrepreneur, you are. Because you are a walking billboard of who you are, your brand. You are your brand. So be the best version of you, the entrepreneurial magic in you. Keep your brand clean for you. And
we just got to call the Three Stooges.
Who called us the Three Stooges?
Aaron did.
Aaron.
I don't think she called us that. It sounds like one of the Three Stooges.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe she's talking about my haircut.
Curly and Mo?
Yeah, who was Shep? Didn't Shep have the bowl cut?
I don't know, but I'm really needing Rich right now because Rich is. Oh yes, Rich has a tie with me with the police academy. Rich is actually the man who's the reason I like microphones so much. He gave me a mic when we did benefit auctioneering together, and he's a sure success. But anyways,
not Michelle.
Sorry, I'm so distracted. But anyways,
thanks, Aaron.
But Rich. He and I have a police academy thing going on. We can quote movies.
Yeah.
And he just said the Caddyshack, be the ball. No. Be you. No. We better get off because we're going to start rambling again.
It's getting weird now.
Yeah, it's getting weird. We're losing it. Have a great day, everybody. And thank you for joining. Please, if you've gotten anything out of, entrepreneurial's connection, whatever you can think of what we talked about, because we talked a lot, share this because someone needs to hear it. Someone needs to hear that they're not alone, that their business has a way to grow, and that they are their brand, that they are not whatever was outside. They are the what sells, whatever it is, okay? People do business with those they know, like, and trust, not a company that they know, like, and trust.
Yeah. See how smart she is?
I'll pay him later. Okay, have a great day, everybody, and be the best version of you. He's so silly.